Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's session on an overview of Tosca Connect. You will learn the step-by-step process of using Tosca Connect and its integration with JIRA. We'll also go into details on requirement and defect sections of Tosca, as well as the epic, user story, and bug sections of JIRA. I'm your host, Sanal Nair, and I'll be facilitating the session. Our MOOCs give us the opportunity to share what's important to us, software test automation, risk reduction, and how Tricentis can help your organization accelerate business innovation. We are pleased to have Yogesh Chaudhary, Associate Solution Engineer, here with us to talk about the concept of Tosca Connect. Some of you who join our MOOCs on a regular basis will have heard all of this many times, but since there are some people joining us for the first time, please allow me to talk about our housekeeping rules. All participants will be muted during the session. As there are hundreds of you currently attending the session, obviously everyone talking would be confusing and hard to follow. There is a control panel at the bottom of your screen with apps that you can toggle on or off. Key ones being Q&A, Twitter, Share, and the media player. Please note if you pause the media player, we will disappear. So don't do that. Even though you are muted, we encourage you to ask questions during the session. Please use the before mentioned Q&A box. There will be also a formal Q&A session at the end of the MOOC. Therefore, we'll host we will hold the most important, interesting questions for the Q&A so that every one of you can profit from the answers. We will, however, answer as many questions as possible during the session. Please be aware that only questions related to the topics will be covered. Please keep in mind that given the numbers of attendees, we might not be able to answer all of your questions during the session. Lastly, let me state that this session will be recorded and will be shared on our website later this week. Without taking much of your time, let me pass it over to Yogesh. Welcome, Yogesh.
Thanks, Sanal, for the introduction, and let's move ahead with today's agenda. So today, first we will see what is Tosca Connect, then we will see how the artifact flows between two tools, then we will jump into the configuration and setup, and last we will see the quick demonstration. As we know that the modern softwares are connected to each other in order to synchronize data in a faster way. And what customer typically wants is to synchronize their Tosca project artifacts with their tools they usually use in their software lifecycle. So the question is how we are going to achieve this synchronization. Using Tricentis Tosca Connect, we can synchronize these artifacts between Tosca and other tools, where Tricentis Tosca Connect acts as a bridge between Tosca and your tool. So let's see how the artifacts synchronize. As we know that the Jira contains epic, user stories, and bugs. So today we will synchronize our epics and user stories with requirement section of Tosca, and then we will link our defects back to Jira. So before moving ahead towards the configuration and setup, let's see what are the prerequisites for this setup. From the Jira, we will require the Jira should be installed on a locally or at a remote server, and there should be a separate user available for the Tosca Connect. Next is Tosca Connect. So Tosca Connect should be installed locally or at a remote server with valid license. And last is Tosca Commander. So from the Tosca Commander, we will require one multi-user workspace, a dedicated user for Tosca Connect, Tosca server with REST API configured, and one requirement set. So what this configuration and setup includes? This configuration and setup includes four major steps, that is repositories, models, collections, and integration. So let's jump into our Tosca Connect. So this is my home screen for the Tosca Connect, and as I mentioned earlier, we can see the four major steps: repositories, models, collections, and integration. So let's move into the repositories. Repositories are like a connection string which communicate with your tools. Repository connection enables Tosca Connect to create, modify, and delete the artifacts. For Tosca-JIRA integration, we will require two repository connections, one for Jira and one for Tosca. So let's create our first repository connection. For this, I will click on New Repository Connection, and from the list, I will choose the Jira. In the label, I will provide the connection name. In the location, I will provide the Jira URL. And in the authentication, I will provide the username and password. Here I am using the dedicated user which I have created for Tosca Connect. On the right hand corner, we can see the option for test connection, using which we can validate our connection. So the connection is valid and I can save this connection. And now my Jira connection is ready. In a similar way, again I will create the connection for Tosca. So from the list, I will choose Tricentis Tosca. I will provide the label. In the location, I will provide the REST API address. And I will provide the dedicated user of Tosca. Again, I will test my connection. Connection is successful, so I can save this connection. And this is how my two repository connections are ready. Next is models. Models are the field structure created in Tosca Connect to map the different properties of the artifacts to be integrated with each other. So model can be act as a man in the middle. Tosca Connect provides the different sets of models for the different types of artifacts. As we can see, there are multiple models already available for the different types of artifacts. So if I open one of the model, we can see here the list of fields which are available for that artifact. We can modify this model and we can create our own model using the new model option. For this demo, I am going to use the default models. So my models are ready and now I will move into the collections. Collections are like a set of artifacts which contains artifact information that will get processed by the model. For the Jira Tosca integration, we will require total 6 collections, 2 for epics, 2 for user story, and 2 for defect. So let's create our first collection for the epic. For that, I have click on new collection and from the type I have choose the work item collection. So here I will provide my collection name. From the connection, I will choose the Jira connection. So what it is doing, it will go to my Jira URL and it will access the projects which are available using this URL. So I will select my project and I will click on done. Next is work item. From here, we will choose the artifact type for which we are creating this collection. So as we are creating this collection for Epic, I will choose the work item type as a Epic. And from the model, I will choose the feature Epic model which is already available. Then I will click on save. So what it has done is it has tried to map the fields which are available using the model and the artifact. So we can see these map fields. So using this option, we can see what are the fields that are mapped and we can map any extra field using here. So here we will see the different artifact fields which are available in Tosca Epic. And from here I can choose the model field that I need to connect. So I can see that there is one error at priority for which I need to configure manually. So from here I can see that the highest and lowest are the two fields which are not mapped yet. For this I will connect the highest with the high and lowest with the low. So I can see that the issue is resolved. So I can save this collection. So next is relationship. So in the relationship we will add subtask to the children. So what is we are saying here? So we are saying here that the epics may contain the subtasks which are the user stories. That is that user stories are the childrens of these epics. So I will connect this relationship and I will save this. So now my Jira epic collection is ready. So next is Tosca epic collection. For that I will click on new collection. I will again choose the work item container and I will provide the collection name Tosca Epic Collection. This time from the connection I will choose the Tosca connection. In the manage projects I can see the projects which are already available in my workspace. So I will select my workspace, then I will click on done. So as I mentioned earlier that we are going to link our epics with our requirement. For that from the work item I will select the requirement and from the model I will choose the feature epic model because earlier I have connected my epic collection of Jira to the feature epic model. I will click on save. Again it is trying to map the fields and I can see that the fields are mapped. So I will go into the map fields and I can see that the different fields are already mapped. So I don't want this formatted ID to be linked with my formatted ID of the Tosca. For that I will delete this and what I will do is I will connect this formatted ID to my custom field called ID. So I have connected formatted ID which is nothing but the ID of the epic, to the custom field ID. One more thing, you can see here the red symbol. This means this property must be set. For that, I will choose the synchronization policy, and from the constant value, I will select the customizable defaults on, and I will set the constant value. Again, here I can see that the name is connected with summary, and summary is also connected with my summary. So I want my epic name to be connected with name. For that, I will again delete this. I will choose the name, and from the model, I will choose the epic name. So this is how we mapped fields one by one using the Tosca Connect. So I will save this, and then I will click on done. So my Tosca epic collection is also ready. Our next collection is for the user story. For that, I will again click on new collection. I will choose work item collection. Here I will provide the name Jira user story collection. From the connection, I will choose the Jira connection. I will choose my project. Now we are connecting our user stories. For that, from the work item, I will choose the work item type as story. And from the model, I will choose story. And let's save this. So I will again see the map fields. And I can again see that the priority is not configured properly. I will connect highest to high and lowest to low. Then I will click on save. As we can see, the relationship is already set. So let's see what is the relationship. So this relationship is saying that the user story contains the epic link, which is nothing but the parent of that user story. So whenever we are creating the user story, it will sync as a sub requirement of the main requirement. My Jira user story collection is ready. So let's create the Tosca epic, Tosca user story collection. From the connection, again I will choose the Tosca connection. Manage projects, I will select my workspace. And again work item type I will choose as a requirement. But this time from the model, as I'm connecting to the user story, I will choose the model type as story. Then I will click on save. I will go to the map fields. Again, I don't want formatted ID to be connected with my formatted ID field. So I will delete this. I will check rest of the things. I don't want summary to be connected with summary because I am connecting the summary field with name field of my Tosca. So I will delete this. From here, again I will connect ID with my formatted ID and the compulsory field synchronization policy. I will set the constant value and I will save the connection. Now my Tosca user story collection is also ready. So our last collection is for the defect. For that, let's create the Jira defect collection. Named it as Jira defect. From the connection, choose Jira connection. Select your project, and from the work item, use the bug. And from the model, we will use the defect. Again, I will go to the map fields, and we can see the multiple errors. So as resolution and status is not required me, I will delete this mapping. I will again configure the priority, and I will save this. Then I will click on done, and my Jira defect collections are ready. So our last collection is Tosca defect. For that, again I will creating the new collection. From the connection, I will choose Tosca connection. I will select my workspace. From the work item, this time I will select the defect, and from model I will select defect, and I will click on save. I will go to the map fields. I will delete this formatted ID and connect it with my ID field. I will check rest of the things, and it looks okay for me. So as I earlier mentioned that we can add our custom fields to the artifact type using Tosca Connect. So let's see how we can add this custom field. For that, I will jump into my Tosca. I will do the checkout tree. From the property definition, I will create one property. I will name it as a issue priority so that I can connect my priority. I will set default value as medium, and I will provide the value range. Then I will do the check-in all, and again I will jump to my Tosca Connect. So if I try to search this field here, I can see that the field is still not available. The reason that the reason behind this is we still not refreshed our page. So I will just click on refresh so that it will fetch the latest property which are available. and now I can see that the issue priority is available. So I will select issue priority. From the model I will select priority and I will connect this. One thing we missed here is that the synchronization policy. So we will again set the synchronization policy. I will set the value and I will save this. So now all the collections are ready. So last part is integrations. Integration is the final step of setup where we connect two collections in order to map to synchronize our data. Here we will create the three integrations: epic, user story, and defect. So let's create our first integration. For that, I will click on new integration. From here, I will choose the work item synchronization and I will name it as Jira Tosca Epic Integration. So we can see here the option for existing repository connection. So I will choose the Jira connection, and on the other hand, I will choose the Tosca connection. So here we will see the list of collections that we have created earlier. As we are connecting our epic, so I will choose the Jira epic collection and I will choose the Tosca epic collection and I will save this. I can see that there is an error at artifact routing. So let's see what is the error. So here we can see that the Tosca Connect our Jira project is available, but we have still not mapped with our requirement set. For that, I will click on root more projects. In the background, it is trying to fetch the requirement set which are available inside my workspace. So I can see that my requirement set is here. I will select that requirement set and I will do the add selected. Here we will see the options for connecting way. Here we can choose which way we want to synchronize our data. So here we want our epics to be synchronized to the requirement. So that's why I will choose the right hand side connection. So now all the epics will synchronize as a requirement in Tosca. So I will click on save and then done. And my first integration is ready. In a similar way, let's create the connection. Let's create the integration for user story. Now I am creating my user story integration. For that, I will again click on new integration. I will select the work item. Here I will provide the name. From the repository connection, I will choose Jira connection. And here I will choose the Tosca connection. This time I will choose the collection as Jira user story collection. And I will select the Tosca user story collection. Again, I will go to the artifact routing and I will connect to my requirement set. I will choose the one-way direction and I will save this. Now my second integration is also ready. Now our two integrations are ready, and let's create our last integration. This we will create for the defect. Again, from the connection, I will choose the Jira connection. I will choose the Tosca connection. Here I will choose the defect collection and Tosca defect collection. So let's see what are the extra options that we get in overview. So we can see the field flow. With field flow, we can see that the which field of the Jira is mapped to the Tosca. So here we can see the formatted ID is connected to the ID field, summary is connected to the name, and description is to the description. Here we will get the extra options which indicates how we want to flow the fields to using the update normally or always update. Next is again artifact routing. From here I will connect to my issues. So it is trying to find the issue folder which are available inside my workspace. And I will select my issue folder. This time I will choose right to left connection because I wanted to connect my defect to the bug of Jira. So I will choose right to left. I will click on save. We can see extra option called attachment flow. From here we can also attach the attachments which are there. So we can flow the attachment from Tosca defect to Jira defect or in the vice versa. So my all integrations are ready and I can run all these integrations. So I will select bulk action and then I will choose run all, and my Jira Tosca integration setup is ready and it is up and running. So let's see the demonstration. So in this demonstration, what we are going to do is we will create one epic, then we will create one user story which will be linked to that epic, and we will see how this looks inside Tosca Commander. And then we will create one defect and we will check whether that defect get linked in the Jira or not. So let's go to the Jira board and create our first epic. For that, I will choose the issue type as epic. I will provide the epic name. I will add the summary. Then I will add the description. I will assign this and I will check the information. Everything looks good and I can create my epic. In a similar way, let's create the user story. For this, I will choose the issue type as story. I will add the summary. I will add the description. I will add the assignee. Then I will link it to my epic. Once again, I will check the information. All looks good. So I will create it. My user story is also created. In the Tosca Connect, the integrations are already running. And what we can do is we can check the activities using the activity tab. So I will move to the activity tab. I can see that there are 4 past activities and now it is 5. So I will quickly move on to the past activities and I can see that my all data is getting synchronized properly. Using this activity tab, we can see what are the activities currently going on. We can see the errors, what are the pending issues, so that it will be easier for us to detect the issue of the synchronization. So let's move to the Tosca commander and see how it looks. So I will go to my requirements. As you can see, currently there are no requirements available. So I will do the update all to get the latest changes. And I can see that my information is get linked. So my epic is created as a main requirement and user story is created as a sub requirement. I can see the information and I can validate that information. So let's run our execution list. So our first test case is passed and I can see there is a failure in second test. So let's raise the defect. So right click, create defect. I will rename this defect for a better readability. I will use the add-on to collect defect information and in description I can see the failure message. So I will do the check-in all. to raise this defect to Jira. In Tosca Connect, we have the additional setting field where we can set the polling interval time. We can set this polling interval time in minutes, seconds, and hours. So let's see what is activity tab. So I can see that the past activity number is 6. That means my defect is created as a bug in Jira. So let's move to the Jira to see whether our defect is created or not. So I will go to the issues, I will search for the issues, and I can see that the defect is raised with the valid information. So this is how we done the Tosca-JIRA integration. I hope the session was useful and informative for everyone. So Sanal, let's move on to the Q&A session.
Thank you, Yogesh. We have some really great questions coming in. The first question is Tosca Connect a licensed tool?
Yes, Tosca Connect is powered by Tasktop, which is a third-party company, and there is a need of the separate license to use this tool.
Next question, can we integrate Tricentis Tosca with HPALM?
Yes, using Tosca Connect, we can integrate the Tosca with HPLM. We can integrate requirement section of Tosca with requirements in HPLM, test cases with test plan, execution with test lab, and defect with issues.
Next question, is there a need for extra infrastructure?
No, all you need is a server machine which is accessible. You can even set up the Tosca Connect where you maintain your common repository.
All right. Next question, is there a requirement of two-way synchronization which is possible in integration?
Yes, two-way synchronization is possible in integration. For example, we can synchronize the defect with defect integration in two-way synchronization mode to get the defect ID, status, and assign information from Jira.
All right. Next question, could you tell us a little more about why we should install a Tosca server?
For Tosca Connect, we need the Tosca server with only REST API configured. We do not require the other features of Tosca server. This we will require to communicate with your workspace.
All right. In the interest of time, we will take one more question. Apart from this video, do we have any additional information available?
Yes, you will get the detailed information at Tricentis support portal. Detailed knowledge base articles are already available for Tosca Jira integration and Tosca HPLM integration as well.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for participating. Please feel free to continue the conversation online by following us on Twitter or on LinkedIn. You can also reach us through our website at www.tricentis.com. Thank you once again for joining the MOOC, and we hope that you enjoy the session. A recording of this MOOC session will be available on our website soon. You can also email us your questions and we'll be in touch with you. Thanks again and have a great rest of the week.